One sentence summary. Scientists with good intentions fuck up big time when the super sharks they've created start murdering people, as you might expect they would. Could you beat the villain? This is a tricky one. If I had a hand in planning the situation, I'd be fine. If I'm one of the scientists who are making these super sharks, I'm planting in like a bomb in the shark's chest. It's not going to be big enough to blow up their precious brains that we're going to extract things from, but it will kill the shark. No doubt about that. Some people might say that is inhumane. Fair enough. If we can't do that, I'm not doing this in the sea. We're doing this on land. Those sharks are in tanks. They can be big tanks, but I need to have the ability to walk away from them. Otherwise, I'm not getting involved. Project's over. Say I'm not involved in the planning of this shark experiment for some reason, even though I'm obviously qualified. There's a number of times when there are sharks, two of the smaller ones, swimming around in the corridors of the facility as it's flooding. One-on-one, I can take out a shark, right? In a corridor, I can pin it down. If you can't get the shark to move, it's going to drown. See, this information I had to look up to make sure that was correct. Chill. 3-on-1, I'm in a lot of trouble, and if we're in the open sea, oh shit, that was a good opportunity to say the deep blue sea. If we're in the deep blue sea, no, I'm dead. I'm not going to be able to win this. How would you improve this film? So, start the film, there are 4 frat types, American teenager types, on a boat, and they are attacked by a shark. And you think, rowdy teenagers, classic horror film, they're going to get killed. Actually, they had wine, grapes, and cheese on board, so they were quite classy. And who brought that teddy bear that fell into the sea? That seems like a weird thing that they would have. Anyway, why do we get 2 introductions to Thomas Jane being a badass? Sam Jackson, he works for a pharmaceutical company called Chimera. What vibes do you think you're giving off if you're naming your company after a Greek monster? Thomas Jane and LL Cool J are both needlessly mean to Sam Jackson, who's basically there to see if the company should shut the project down and, get their jobs down the toilet. You would butter the guy up, surely. You'd at least be just polite to him. LL Cool J, he's a chef, and he needs to keep his pet bird out of the kitchen. That is not cool, alright? It's not safe, not hygienic. Also, when does the bird not have a name? That confused me. It's not like he had many birds. There's a blatant advert for some vodka in the film, and there's an even more blatant advert for Coca-Cola. And I'm wondering, does that actually sell things? Because I don't remember what the name of that vodka was. And I don't think they said it, they just showed the bottle a couple of times. But I'm not going to be like, oh man, that guy got eaten by a shark. I need to get me some of that vodka. Sam Jackson, he's not even looking at the computer screen when the scientist people are talking about, the shark brain magic that they've created. He's just like standing next to it like, cool, science. Why did they have that shotgun in the lab? Is it a science shotgun? I believe so. And I know Stellan Skarsgård was going to smoke indoors, but bloody hell, karma comes down on this guy like a ton of bricks. You can only imagine that the character has got an awful backstory where he feeds puppies to the sharks. We just never saw it. Thomas Jane, good old Tommy Jane, he falls over about 3 times in the first half an hour of this film. Very strange. And it takes people way too long to run away from that slowly cracking glass, bearing in mind they are underwater and a shark has just thrown Stellan Skarsgård at the glass to try and break it. If that were me, I'd be like, sorry Stellan Skarsgård, I'm out of here. Hope you survive. I know you're not gonna, but I'm gone. LL Cool J. Anyway, he outruns a shark whilst wading through water. I don't think that's gonna happen. And he uses a lighter that's been underwater to blow up a shark, having been trapped in an oven and turn the gas on. The shark is actually the one that turned the gas on whilst he was in the oven. It's an involved film. Anyway, I had to look into it, but in theory, that lighter could have worked having been submerged in water. So, story checks out. I like that. Should have been in the stuff that I liked about this film. Don't know why it's here. Jan, the lady who apparently didn't know that the 2 scientists she works with, or at least 2, have been tampering with the DNA of the sharks, she's left alive a suspiciously long time Bearing in mind, she falls into some water which has one of the murder sharks in it, because we see the shark circling a second before. She's like, ah, bush. And she's like, oh no, I don't want to get eaten by a shark. And then the shark attacks her. And Thomas Jane pulls the most, oh, for fuck's sake, face that you will ever see. Right, there was either good acting or he just did not like the guy who was doing the acting opposite him. There is no reason for Thomas Jane not to be eaten by a shark in that scene as well. It's just like the shark veers off. Scary sight, but there you go. I'm not a fan of LL Cool J's video memorial thing, because I don't believe he takes that video camera up to the surface. So he filmed it and he was going on about making omelettes and stuff, and then that tape would have just been destroyed because he left it in the facility that just falls apart. I understand the logic of having Dr. Susie stand on her wetsuit to insulate herself from an electric shock, but it did feel like it was an excuse just to get the actress in her pants, because bearing in mind Dr. Susie is wearing, I didn't know her actress name either, she is wearing like wetsuit shoes, so they could very well be, you know, electric shock proof as well, but whatever. Speaking of wetsuits, everyone gets one in this film apart from LL Cool J, who just you know, fight sharks and swim around wearing his chef's gear, so more professional there. I did like that the film was show not tell, so when someone dies and another character asks like, oh, where is XYZ, the actors will just like say it with their face by acting instead of going, they are dead. So yeah, that's good. They use fire extinguishers and flotation devices as a distraction for the sharks, because the movements is going to, you know, draw the sharks' attention. The sharks are going to go chomp, chomp, chomp. That's a smart plan. Apart from, the characters then swim basically in between the three fire extinguisher projection things. So you're like, well, if it's a distraction, why are you in the area that you're going to lure the shark to? You send those up or you push them further away. LL Cool J is the only person in this film to survive being bitten by a shark, and he does so with the power of Christ. I don't know if there are any hidden messages to this film, but that seems like a pretty good one. And I know it's been a stressful day, but Thomas Jane cannot assume that sharks have actually been herding the characters in a purposeful, you know, attempt to destroy the facility and sink it, because that's not just, you know, smart sharks, that's like 4D chess smart sharks. At the start of the film, one of the sharks has escaped and nobody knows how. And at the end of the film, Tommy Jane theorises that the sharks have sunk the place so that they can get through a steel fence which was above the surface of the water, because they can't get through the titanium fence that was under the surface of the water. A, how did the sharks know that the fence above the water was steel and not exactly the same as the titanium that they couldn't get through? B, how did that shark get out at the beginning? Did it jump the fences? Because he said, like, to Scott, raise the fences, right? I don't trust these sharks. Could the sharks have all just done a flipper over it or a free willy? I don't know. Doesn't make, I don't know. Dr. Susie, she sacrifices herself to act as bait to lure the sharks back in, and I think they reshot the ending because, like, basically she's the villain of the film, let's be honest. So she jumps into the water, she's cut her hand, the one remaining super shark is like, yum yum yum, swims towards her, and there's a bit where she's like, oh shit, and tries to swim back, and then I think the ladder she's trying to get on breaks. I would have respected it more if she'd just like gone in the water. She's like, yeah, I'm bleeding, I'm luring the shark in, I've lost my research, so all these deaths that I've caused were for naught, and you know, the shark ate her. LL Cool J, he has a point when Tom O'Jano says there were just 3 sharks, and LL Cool J is just like, are you sure about that? Yeah, there were more than 3 sharks. So at the beginning, when Jan is walking Samuel L. Jackson around, she's like, oh yeah, these are the super sharks over here, and we've got this big old shark here, and sometimes we get like they look after sharks, basically, is what I'm saying. And I think we saw that shark with the number plate in his mouth. I don't think anyway, I'm not explaining it. We see that shark die, but surely there weren't just 4 sharks in this entire facility, were there? I don't know. Rating out of 5 beers. Considering how old this is, the CGI is not that bad, and Samuel L. Jackson's speech about, you know, an avalanche and coming together and all that sort of good stuff right before he's eating, or during he's doing that speech and he is eating, that is brilliant. I quite like that. And the inspirational music when LL Cool J appears with that harpoon at the end, oh, that's just magical. Yeah, so I would give this 2 beers out of 5. I think this might be the best film I've seen all year, and it's March now, which is sad.
Cause I'm ripping up shows. Hold your nose, dead bodies are around. I leave scratch marks under the tears of a clown. I write rhymes that shine like lipstick. So much.